The day started out with a bang. There was juror drama that ended up in some change-ups in the courtroom. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, and we just wrapped up day 20 of Karen Reed's second trial. Here are my top moments of the day. So first up, of course, has to be the juror issue. Now, the jurors entered the courtroom around 9:30 this morning, but like right away, Bev says that there's an issue that has come to her attention and she wants to speak to each juror individually. So everybody was removed from the courtroom, including all media. They couldn't even be on the second floor where the courtroom was. They had to go down to the first floor. So we all are just kind of waiting to hear something. And then once everyone's back, Bev just kind of tells the jury not to discuss the case with anyone, including each other. And then we hear from reporters in the courtroom that there's been like a shuffle in the seating arrangement of the jury box. According to Sue O'Connell, there were actually two jurors who kind of had to swap place. Now, we've heard from multiple reporters that there's a few of these jurors who have kind of giggled at different parts of testimony and different things that seemed kind of ridiculous on the stand. So maybe that was part of these one-on-one meetings with the judge. And Sue O'Connell also said that one of the jurors who was kind of giggling is one of the ones who got moved. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. There are still all 18 jurors there, but now there's just a different seating arrangement. So also, it would be so hard not to talk about the case, especially with fellow jurors. Could you do that? I know I couldn't. I talk too much. Let me know in comments. Could you do that? Could you follow those orders? Especially for a trial this long, that's this wild? I don't know. I couldn't. So once court finally actually got started, we had Dr. Isaac Wolf. He is a brain surgeon, and he took the stand this morning. On direct, he explained that the wound on the back of John O'Keefe's head is a classic blunt force trauma laceration. Now, what that means is that it is physical trauma from a forceful impact without actually penetrating the body's surface. So it means basically there's no object that's piercing the skin. Now, the doctor says that he believes that John O'Keefe fell backwards and hit his head on something, which is what caused the blunt force trauma, and that the tearing of the skin could not have been from something with a ridge. Now, his opinion is also that John O'Keefe would not have died instantly from the head trauma or the hypothermia. Now, Alessi had a surprisingly short cross-examination. There were two main points he wanted to make. The first one was, could the laceration above John O'Keefe's eye have been caused from this falling backwards that he described? And the doctor said, no, that's something completely separate. And the other question is, are you a forensic pathologist?
None of your typical days, none of the past typical months have involved forensic pathology, have they? You haven't acted as a forensic pathologist in...
I am, if you could have asked that question very straightforward. I am not a forensic pathologist. I'm a brain surgeon.
Right. And you don't perform autopsies, correct, sir? You're a brain surgeon.
Correct. In other words, I see more brains than the forensic pathologist.
Right. And is it correct to say that the brains that you see are of living people?
Correct.
Now, the direct testimony of Dr. Wolf lasted about 45 minutes, but the cross was less than 10. But the thing is, nobody really questions whether or not John O'Keefe fell. They just disagree on how it happened or what caused it. And one of the biggest points for the defense here is that no matter what happened when John O'Keefe fell, the laceration on his eye did not come from falling back. So it was a very short cross, but it was effective in what they're looking for. Now, Karen was questioned when leaving the courthouse today about Alessi's short cross, and she said that they have their own medical expert coming in to testify. So I'll be interested to see what their medical expert says as well. Now, the last witness of the day was Christina Hanley from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. She was back on the stand today. She actually started her testimony yesterday. Now, this is very tedious technical testimony, but I can give you just a couple of quick highlights and kind of the main points that she made. First, Hanley had the base of the cocktail glass that was found in the yard by John O'Keefe. She was also given the glass that came from Karen Reed's bumper and the piece of glass that Proctor found in the road in front of 34 Fairview. And she also had the glass pieces that were found on the ground at 34 Fairview. Now, she was able to compare all of these glass pieces to that base of the cocktail glass. And from everything that she looked at, she was able to match 6 pieces that were found on the ground at 34 Fairview to the base of that cocktail glass.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have 9518. Again, Ms. Hanley, what are we looking at here?
So this is another photograph that I took of the physical match. It's just another view of the items together of item 3-2 and several pieces from item 7-12.
And lastly, for this batch, Ms. Gilman, if I could have 9520. And again, Ms. Hanley, what are we looking at here?
So this is another picture that I took of the items just slightly rotated.
Now, Hanley was unable to match any pieces of the glass found on the bumper to that cocktail glass, and she was unable to match the piece of glass that Proctor had found in the road to the cocktail glass either. Now, the other highlight of Hanley's testimony this year is just something simple, but for anyone interested, we actually got to see a picture of the debris that was in the bag of clothing and the scrapings from John O'Keefe's shirts. Now, we've heard about it often. We've heard it mentioned and referenced in all kinds of testimony and court documents, but we've never actually got to see it. And they actually showed a picture of that, and they showed a picture of it under the microscope. So new information, something different.
And Ms. Hanley, what are we looking at in this photograph?
This is the photo that I took of the debris that was collected from the clothing items.
And again, Ms. Hanley, what are we looking at here?
This is a photo that I took under a microscope of the red plastic pieces that I noted within the debris.
Now, court ended early today, and Bev actually canceled the Hoff day for tomorrow. So we won't be back for jury duty until Tuesday. But don't worry, we will be posting things on the channel, and I will have 13th Juror podcast out on Friday. So it will wrap up everything that has been covered this week. Everybody have a great Memorial weekend, and jurors, I will see y'all soon right here on Crime Junkie Jury.